And there are 5 requirements for you to use the CLI. The first one is Git, second one is Docker, third one is either Homebrew or Scoop for Windows, fourth one is the Supabase CLI itself, and the fifth one is to open a Supabase account. I'm not going to go in detail about how to install each of these, but you're going to have the resources available in the description below. Now, once you have everything installed, what you can do is log into your Supabase account. And you're going to do this by saying Supabase login. Now, I'm just going to quickly run the Supabase command so that you can see all the available commands, which are completion, db, functions, init, link, login, migration, secret, start, and stop. Okay, so we're going to take a look at each of these in the coming videos. But for now, we're just going to initialize the project. So what we're going to say is Supabase login. And what it's going to ask for is an access token, which you can find at app.supabase.io/account/tokens. You're going to need a Supabase account for this, and you're just going to create your token and put it here. So that way, the local development environment knows what account it's linked to. Okay, so I've already done this. And so what I can do now is actually initialize the project. So I'm going to say Supabase init. And this way, I will get a Supabase directory in my project directory with a config.toml file, which will have all of the configurations necessary for me to tell Supabase what I'd like to achieve with the application locally, okay? So this is a local environment where I can tell it, like, if you change this specific configuration variable, then it's going to change what the site URL that makes requests to Supabase is actually. And so in this case, if we have another port instead of 3000, we could say 3001, for example, or we could redirect to another URL and so on and so forth. All of these variables are very well documented in Supabase documentation. Now, once you've initialized your project, what you want to do is you want to start it. So what the Supabase start command does is it links all the different dependencies necessary for Supabase to work locally, and it starts all the necessary web servers, right? So you're going to need Docker for this, so make sure that you have it installed and running. And once you have Docker running, you can say Supabase start. And with that, Supabase will start your database, and it will give you all of the information necessary to actually start developing your application. It's going to start the containers, and it's going to give you a bunch of information necessary to actually, get started with your development. Now, what you want to do here is you want to create a little environment variable, or sorry, a .env file, and you want to copy all of these variables into the .env file. You're going to rename them, and so this way they work with the .env syntax. Okay, so these are all the different URLs that you're going to need to look at each individual service available from Supabase. So the studio URL, which is a place where you can visually design your database. The anon key, which is a public key that you can use to access public tables. And then the service role key for the keys that are protected by row level security, essentially. And so at this point, you have a full Supabase account running locally. And what you can do is you can go to the studio, which is port 54323. And if I open it up on Chrome, you can see that it opens up a full studio environment. So I'm just going to reload this real quick, and I'm going to look at my project, and I can see that everything is running smoothly, and I have the new table running. So this is how to initialize a Supabase environment